Matt and I had a pretty epic first day on the mountain. It really couldn't have started any worse for us. We were always conscious that moving as a team of two was going to be challenging. Certainly, with the conditions in the lower glacier being, well, horrendous is probably the only way to put it. We left base camp at sort of midnight when the glacier would be the coldest. We took all our precautions, and about 2 hours into the climb, I popped through a crevasse up to my waist on the track as well. While I was trying to climb out of it, Matt had set an anchor up. But while I was trying to climb out of it, I moved my weight. Obviously forward, I climbed out on my front, and as I did that, the entire track just collapsed all around me. Maybe a section, maybe sort of 2 or 3 meters squared, just collapsed all around me, and I fell probably 6 to 7 meters down into a cavern of what was a huge crevasse. What made the situation even more complicated was the rope cut about 3 to 4 meters into the lip of the crevasse, pinning that on the surface, making it impossible for me to really do anything from underneath. Unbeknown to Matt at this point, he was actually over the crevasse as well. In a matter of seconds, we were in a really critical situation. I was incredibly lucky that I landed. The floor was broken. I landed on my rucksack on my back, and I landed on a ledge in the crevasse. My sled fell further down beneath me, sort of pinning me on the ledge. Like I said, Matt was sort of stuck up above. We were really lucky that a team behind us obviously came across us, really well saved the situation, because both Matt and myself were just unable to really do anything. It was shock, really. I mean, it took me a few minutes really to get my bearings down there and just to, assess the situation and assess the cavern that I was in. I was in quite a big cavern, probably the size of, an average sort of room in a house. But to my left was just, the biggest cavern. It was just black. I've never seen blackness like it really. It was probably the size of a cinema. Sort of to my right and behind me, the crevasse was running directly underneath the track. As the leader of the other team came over to help Matt, he actually fell in the crevasse as well. So Matt then was not only, anchoring me, he then had to try and, he then had to help this other guy, who's out of the same crevasse that he fell in up to his waist. While Matt was pinned, anchoring me, he then had to help this other guy out of the crevasse as well. It took maybe 5 to 7 people to set up a new anchor and a pulley system to hold me out of the crevasse. But my sled was trapped under this ledge, so we had to cut the sled loose, cut the sled off. I was down there for about an hour and a half, constantly being dripped on by melting ice above me. So I was soaking wet when I came out, and I was pretty close to being hypothermic really, and I was pretty conscious of my toe and my fingers and just frostbite in general really. But that wasn't the end of it. While I was putting my warm clothes on and just trying to warm myself up, Matt then had to abseil back into the crevasse to free my sled up and to pull my sled out as well. So, it was an hour and a half to 2 hour absolute epic, and Matt and myself were still 6 hours away from 7.5 camp, which is the first camp at 7,500 feet. And that was the longest 6 hours of my life, because as you can imagine, I ran in over the track, so every single step that me and Matt took, it was just like everything flashed before us. And it was a brutal 6 hours, and we got to camp, and we were so emotionally and physically drained that we literally got to camp, set the tent up, had something to eat, and we both crashed for like 30 hours solid, just in the security and safety of our tent. It was just the worst first day you could possibly dreamt of, really.